Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Um, October the 20th, uh, the Empire call, and we got something special for you tonight. I have a guest speaker with me, Joy, who I will introduce in a little bit. But let's first give recognition to the top producers, Wayne White with 2223, Todd Warren, Amy Silverman, 1520, Chris Garrett, Garland Woodard, Leslie Moody, Leo Drake, Leslie Anderson, Jenny Shavaria, Shauna Wolf. Hey, Shauna, great job. Derek Saunders, Kenna Shell, Amanda Jimenez, Lizzie Daniel, and Meredith Canal. Top sponsors for the week, Leslie Moody with 4, Mary Stewart with 4, Stephanie Van Beek with 3, Cindy Anderson 3, Epri, I always say that right? Um, 3, and Karen Salazar with 3. 217 new coaches this week. We are rocking it in the Empire. Um, and we have 16,589 members on the team right now. So I'm Johan Van Ardi. I'm a one-star qualifying diamond coach. And I have with me special guest speaker Joy Ross. She's a diamond coach on our team to the max, and also the Empire, of course. And we're going to talk about connecting versus just inviting. And if time allows, we're going to talk a little bit about smart goal setting as well. So let me tell you a little bit about Joy. She became a diamond coach in about 100 days. She joined May the 18th. She's a month 3 Success Part starter, so she got her summit ticket. And she had Success Club 10 in all 3 of her first months, and Success Club 4 in 4 consecutive months. This is her 5th month in the business. Totally 58 points to date. Obviously, she's registered for Summit, and I want to specifically give a shout out to this that she attended both Super Saturdays with her local team and took the people that was locally with her and really got them fired up. So my question to you, Joy, is, and everybody want to know, how the heck did you get to diamond in 100 days? What did you do? Tell us your story.
Well, hi guys. First of all, truly it's an honor to be on this call, and I say that with great humility. And I'm still very new, but obviously will share my story in hopes that anything that I may have stumbled on or been intentional about is of benefit to you guys. And I think, in fairness, first of all, I started out as a customer. I remember, having some weight goals, and they were kind of general, but I'd seen some successes, and I had been working out for quite a while, but wanted to take my body to a new heights. And I was on Facebook one night, and this ad kind of flies by, and I responded, and it was about the 21-day fix. And lo and behold, the guy that's on the other screen on the other side, Johan, he was behind the scenes in Facebook. And it's funny when you know now, some of the behind the scenes world. But needless to say, I signed up, and probably halfway through, he sent me a text, and he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a coach?" And I responded, "No." And then he said, "I watched you in our groups, and I think you should, you'd be a good coach." And then my response, which is really interesting because I think it speaks a lot sometimes to us not having a belief and really knowing, was that I wasn't at goal weight yet. And I goal weight. And he said it had absolutely nothing to do with that. So suffice it to say, he was appropriately persistent, and I thank him for that every time. And when I kind of like blew him off, he came back and he says, "I know you've got some goals, and this is certainly something that can help you both physically, but also financially, and then just very rewarding for you based upon what I identified as being important in my life." And thankfully he did that, and I signed up, and I just jumped in. And I remember doing the back office training when the gal from HR told the women that she was doing the conference with to whip out their phones and send a message. And I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. So I whipped out my phone while I'm doing the online training and I sent out a message. And as I'm doing the training, my phone starts to blow up. And I was just so excited because it was real then. And like I had just jumped in. And so I think the first thing that I would say is that I truly jumped in. And I didn't even know what I didn't know. But I trusted that Johan would lead me to the point where at least I started to be able to gather my bearings. Did the 3 vital behaviors, and as simple as that sounds, it's so important. And I've seen success ever since then. And you know, there are times that I struggle and there are times that I'm disappointed, but you know, I continue to do that 3rd vital step in terms of continuing on with professional development and maybe finding a book that will speak to my struggle in the moment. And keep going and keep moving and keep, you know, prodding and pushing and moving ahead. So I think that's a long answer to that question, Johan.
Yes, thanks, Joy. I just wanted to say, especially to people that's fairly new on here, you know, and it can be a little bit overwhelming with all the training. And I remember that Joy just said to me, I'm just going to jump in. And I said, that's exactly what you need to do. And she said to me, so we are building the plane and flying it at the same time. And I said, yep, that's exactly how it goes. That's how you learn. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let Joy talk a little bit about the keys to her success is her genuine interest with people and the fact that she really connects with people and not just invite. And I'll let you talk about that, Joy.
Yeah, I think about when we were at Super Saturday, we went to Milwaukee this last time, and Carl Deichler was there, and as he was talking, he started referencing connecting versus inviting, and it made so much sense. And I like people. Like I really, really like people. I find them engaging. And so in some ways, I think it's natural, but I think even if it's not a predisposition that you naturally have, if you take an interest in people, they will genuinely open up. And then for those of you who may not enjoy this as much as I do, it might, you know, spark your interest and you may find a place where it's like, oh, that's interesting, because people become very passionate when they talk about themselves. And so for me, truthfully, that is probably my gift. That being said, I struggle with some other things. So, you know, I don't want you to sit on the other side of this and think, oh, she's got it easy, because Johan can tell you I've got some struggles. But that is definitely one area that I am excited about. And I think because I'm excited, I come to the table with that. And then I have to learn how to temper that sometimes so that it is not overwhelming for somebody. So even though that might be a gift, there's still a level of responsibility that I have to come to the table with when I am making that connection. But I really am a connector of dots. And when I see people and I hear things that they potentially are interested in, immediately in my mind, I start connecting them with other things or other situations. And then ultimately it's like, how does Beachbody fit into that? Whether it's, you know, a personal goal in terms of weight. Just recently I met somebody whose daughter, who's a teenager and struggling with eating disorders. And so talked about the beauty of Shakeology and how that might be something that might help to transition her while she is obviously getting some additional supports. But how do we get, you know, good stuff in her body? And so I think just training your mind to being able to make those connections, and putting yourself out, you know, as much as possible. If you can meet people, I know Johan is a humongous believer in wear and share, and I am too. He's a P90X wear and share. I'm a 21-day fixer wear and share, just because I love me some Miss Autumn. But you know, those little things that not only present you for people to say, oh wow, that's interesting, tell me about that, and you're like, absolutely. And then just having that natural opportunity to have a meaningful conversation.
Okay. So I also want you to uh, talk a little bit, especially about this last point, number 8, speaking from a standpoint of experiencing the challenge group, how what it meant to you, and how that makes it easy for you to share it with other people.
Yeah, well, I think it speaks to credibility. I can speak to the fact that, I did it. And for me, I always share growth opportunities. So I've done 21 Day Fix like 4 times, and that's my go-to. I just live for upper arms. I'm trying to just get this upper body to just be like, oh. Um, And so when I talk about my experience with 21 Day Fix, I talk about the fact that when I started the first time, I started out with 2 and 5 pound weights. The second time I did 5 and 8. The third time I did 8 and 10. The fourth time I did 12 and 15. I'm sorry, 10 and 12, and now 12 and 15. And so, you can see growth like that, because sometimes growth doesn't just come on the scale. And people are like, really? Did you do that? And I'll stop and take a picture holding a 15-pound weight. But I think, being able
Great
to
point.
have walked the walk certainly gives credibility, and then you just speak from your experiences.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's important to track and measure your goals, but you don't. It's not always just about the weight loss. It's improving your health, increasing your strength, increasing your flexibility, like you just mentioned. And I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I wanted to say to the new people that's on here, in and we will publish this in the Empire, but this is um, a file from Beachbody that about building relationships, and then in the Empire we have these 2 files, leading questions and examples of building relationships. First, if you kind of new at it and you want to see how to do this and how to start conversations, take a look at these. Um, One thing that I think is very important for us to do, and personal development helps a lot by doing this, is to develop the right attitude by programming and actually reprogramming your brain. And what you think, write, and say about yourself will come through in how you approach people, your attitude towards them, and how you connect with people. It will show up in your talk, in person, on video, and on social media. So if I think that I am not worthy to lead a big team, it will come through in my in my actions. And if I see myself as a leader of leaders and a sponsor monster, then I will become a sponsor monster and a leader of leaders. And it's very important to have the right attitude when you are inviting people. And I'm specifically going to let Joy talk about the other points on there that I haven't mentioned.
Yeah, as important as it is for us to speak that to ourselves, we need to have people in our lives who will challenge us. And I think back to, I guess, Johan, it probably was like the 8th week or so when Barbie said she wanted to do a call with us.
Hmm.
And it was interesting. She said, I want to help you get out of your own way. That caused
Right.
me to pause, and I smiled because I realized that the things that needed to come to the table with that was my willingness to learn, and for me not to be proud, and for me to realize that, she had so much to share and she was willing to share. And so I needed to just trust that she knew what she, and just a big to Leah and to Stacy McCoy, obviously to Johan, just people who were in the trenches, and shared from their experiences. And it's interesting, guys, because sometimes you need to stop and make an assessment as to, is this resonating with me? But then also be mindful that you are, taking good advice from people who have been in the trenches. So I
Hmm.
think,
Right.
that positive talk, because it's hard sometimes. I do not sit here on this call with you tonight having figured it all out and not having struggles. And I think maybe it's because I do that hopefully I come across as credible, and it's something that you'll all be able to pull away with something for you at some point in time. So yeah, but I have been known to say, honey, I'll invite the door if it were to stand still, and I sure would. I
And you do. And that's
do.
great. That's been part of your success, is the genuine interest in people, but also the willingness to reach out to all people.
Yeah, and I've heard so many people who've done great videos on YouTube just talk about you're so excited to share this thing that works. I have told people that I am a better assistant principal because of Beachbody. I'm a better woman because of Beachbody. I'm a better wife because of Beachbody. Like my head even works better because of Beachbody. And when you have those kinds of connections, it's hard not to share that. I have to be very mindful on my job that, I'm not, sharing something with somebody who might feel like, they're being pressured into listening or buying or whatever. But it is very hard when you've had something that has impacted your life so positively not to want to share that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. While we are talking about programming your brain, um, I thought that we would touch base a little bit on some of the important things of goal setting. And there's really 6 stages of planning, setting, and reaching goals, results in your outcome. And the first thing is that you need to have absolutely crystal clear goals. You need to know what you want, what you're reaching for, and what is your ultimate outcome. The second thing is to understand your leverage. And what I mean by leverage is not leveraging other people to work for you. This is what is the lever that make you want that goal? Your emotional why. What is driving you? What is the driving force behind wanting that goal? You need to connect with that and realize that and use that as a lever to keep pushing towards your goals. Obviously, you need to go through a mapping stage where you create a plan and you are being consistent. The power of threes is part of that plan, and it's also part of the accountability and the tracking and monitoring, as I'm getting to next, such as well as the income, the growth of your team, your volume, and success club points. Those are all things you can track and monitor on the way to your goals. And then I believe that what very important thing, that part of goal setting is also that you need to your belief system through reprogramming your brain, like we talked about, but also through personal development, which definitely changes our belief system. As Joy said, she's a better wife, she's a better assistant principal because of her actions with Beachbody and her experience with Beachbody. And if you obtain coaching from certain people, that's a personal coach to you, they will also push your belief system so that you can be more positive and do more positive self-talk. And then I value success partners very highly. I have a primary success partner in Stuart Forsher, and if it wasn't for him, I probably would have quit earlier this year. And now I'm a qualifying one-star diamond. If it wasn't for him and Barbie and Leah and Joy. But success partners is so important to give you to stimulate you, to share ideas with, but also to give you neutral accountability, to tell you where you are messing up. And then Jessica Tran is my secondary success partner, and I love being a success partner with her as a woman because it gives me a total different perspective than where I'm coming from as a very strong ruby and with a little bit of sapphire. Um, so those are
Interject.
the. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can I add a little something?
Yeah,
I would totally, big up the power of threes. And for you guys, for you, don't, those of you who don't know, I struggle with organization. So like this was huge and helpful for me. I've been really good like every week since like the beginning of September. That's been huge. But I tell you the thing that I really have been very grateful for. Obviously, Johan's a great coach, and we've got a great team. And shout out to Vicky and Frankie and Christine. But I want to say a huge thanks to Stacy McCoy and Nikki Boyle and some of the people that I would not have known had I not put myself out there. And we've done some things on the side, and I would so encourage you to do that. Obviously, still be plugged into your smaller team, but it just opens your horizons. You get the opportunity to work with people who function differently, who have different experiences, who push you and challenge you. And, to Johan's point about his success partners, I don't really have a success partner, but I have people in my life who are helping me be successful. So, I just think that that's important. If you have the opportunity to, engage in those types of additional support groups, I would totally encourage you to do that. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you, Joy.
Thank you, Johan.
So, when we're talking about goal setting, except that it needs to be crystal clear in everything else that I mentioned and I'll jump back to the previous slide, understanding your leverage, plan out a mapping stage, tracking and monitoring, expanding your belief system, and getting neutral accountability. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, to set SMART goals. And what it specifically stands for: specific, measurable, actions, realistic, and timeline. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper into it. And this is my experience that I'm sharing here. I'm actually using some of my homework that I got from Tony Robbins' coach and from RPM to put in this PowerPoint slide to specific goals. So my ultimate vision is very specific. I want to move to Hanalei Bay, Kauai in the spring before summit of 2017, open a wellness center in 2018, and sponsor 10 people's way for a mission trip by the end of 2017. That is my ultimate vision. I sense it. I can see it. I can almost smell it. I could meditate and almost transport myself to be sitting on the beach in Hanalei Bay. That is how strong your why need to be. Like we say, your why needs to make you cry, but you need to have that vision and be very specific about what you want, when you want it. Secondly, your goals need to be measurable. Can you measure it? The ultimate long-term, not ultimate long-term, but medium-term goal for me to get to that point is that I need to be making $200,000 a year and be a 10-star diamond. The 200,000 is much more important for me, the volume and the growth of the team. And this is something I've learned from Robbins 3 to Thrive and roles, that my team need to quadruple over the next 3 years. And my role that I'm seeing myself in is a leader of leaders. I'm going to help my team to quadruple through recognition, encouragement, and engagement with them. Also, a shorter-term goal is I need to enroll 4 people per month and teach my coaches to do the same. So I'm seeing myself as a sponsor monster, and I will be sponsoring 4 people per month consistently. I've done it some months, but not every month. I need to friend a very short-term goal, getting back to the power of threes. I need to friend 15 people per week, invite 10 to a challenge group, 3 to 5 to the business up, and teach my team to do the same. And so for that, I'm seeing myself as a challenge pack king. So reprogramming your brain and talking positive. The third thing is the actions that we take to make this happen. And I'll let Joy a little bit about this. This is pretty much what we do consistently in our team.
Yeah, I think this is where the power of threes really came to life for me. Because a lot of times we do these things, but we're not writing them down. And so it's really difficult to, assess whether or not you are meeting your goals. And so I've actually bitten the bullet and hired a virtual assistant. I have the great opportunity to have the same person that works with Johan and Stuart. And so I'm able to have some work behind the scenes done that allows me to spend more time connecting. So making, the invites with 3 friends per day, inviting friends to challenge groups, and also inviting people to coaching opportunities, being involved in the 2 sneak peeks per month being involved in a challenge group. I remember when we were writing our business plan, we talked about the fact that people needed to anticipate being committed to running a challenge group or co-facilitating a challenge group with at least 3 to 5 people in it. And also doing a free group every month. Again, shout out to my gals, Stacy and Lori and some of the other gals, but we're doing an additional free group again now, guys. You know, you don't leave your team, but if you're going to connect with some people on the outside, that needs to be additional. And I can tell you that it's been an eye-opener for me. Started out with a goal. Stacy said, you know what, we got to invite 20 people each. And as of yesterday, I had 20 people. And so sometimes even if you don't see that goal, if people who are around you see that goal and you commit to that goal, you then have the opportunity to meet that goal. And so, you know, it's just really surrounding yourselves with people who are intentional to be on the same sort of wavelength as you are and, you know, pushing through and supporting each other as you go.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Joy. Also, as far as the actions, this is just a real, you hear us talk about this all the time, and Barbie talk about it a lot, but to share your life, talk about the coaching opportunity. I was so guilty before I started working with Barbie of not talking about the coaching opportunity and the wonderful opportunity that it is. Talk about your blessings, take selfies, Flex Friday, stuff like that. Also recommend that you, on your like page especially, provide really good, useful content. Not so much selling, but really useful content. I also send a product-related email once a month and a useful non-selling email in 2 weeks later. And I use this through Automatic CEO. And typically what it would be is something like a blog post that I wrote about a topic, and I would share that in that email, because the way I look at it, people could stomach an email that tells them about the product specials of the month if you also provide good content for them in the other part of the month. They don't just want selling all the time. Obviously, we recommend making videos and post directly to your page and upload it to YouTube and other social media sites. Adding people to, and also adding people to autoresponders, especially when they don't buy the challenge pack or don't join as a coach, and you drip feed them those emails. I feel is works really well. Um, I'm just
Can I pose a question from Cliff? Hey, Cliff.
yes.
He says he's interested in knowing what our goals were when we started and how they've changed over time. And he's got some people who are saying, yeah, they want to hear the answer to that.
We can answer that. Let me finish the slide.
Okay.
It's something that I do because I'm very busy. Is because I travel a lot for my job, and I'm in a hotel room tonight. Is that I boost posts on my like page and I advertise my groups, and I find also people through connecting in certain groups. I'm, that I'm trying is searching for friends of friends on Facebook according to Brooke's video. There's a link for it, which it was awesome, Brooke, if you listen to this call. Um, and I also connect a little bit on Twitter and Instagram and bring them over to Facebook. Another important part of the actions is obviously attend all Beachbody events, do the 3 vital behaviors, teach your team to do the same, and what you do has to be duplicatable. And then I'm also feel that you need to be a friend to your team, but you need to be a leader and a mentor first. Our time is technically up, but we're going to go about 5 minutes over the time, and I'll let Joy answer the question of our goals.
So, yeah, so it's funny, Cliff. Oh boy, I didn't have really strong goals when I started. I think one of the things that I realized really early on after deciding that I would be a coach is that I needed to be a coach because I had stopped dreaming. And it was sad for me because I think you can tell, like, I'm really upbeat and I just have so many blessings and I am typically a very grateful person. And when I realized I wasn't dreaming, I just thought, oh God, help me to dream again. And through this, he has put things and places and experiences in my past where I am dreaming. Okay, now buckle up because I am dreaming. Probably, Johan, what was it, like maybe 2 months? I
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna do this full time in a year. I know that's a humongous goal. Okay, I know that. But you know what? That's my target. And that's where I am shooting for. And, if I make that, and if I don't make that, that's my target. And I will reassess and keep going. But I realize now that I really want to get back into community organizations. I want to work with restorative justice. I want to live close to family. And so my dreams are being reignited because my spirit is being fed, and I just know that I have so much more to give, and in giving I receive. So it's just been like night and day for me. So what about you, Johan?
Yes, Cliff. I've always had the goal of sponsoring people's ways on a mission trip because long time ago I was in a Bible study camp in South Africa, and there was our main speaker was somebody that did that, and that really inspired me to spread the word. But I tell you what, before Beachbody, just going through daily life or the daily grind, so to speak. The goals was just okay, yeah, sure, I could make so much money, and then at 65 or 67 I can retire, and then maybe once every 2 years take a trip to Europe or something like that. And then with Beachbody, after visiting Hawaii a few times, who I absolutely love, it's my goals become reality. Is why would I want to stay in Illinois where I'm freezing my butt off, and I was raised in Cape Town by the ocean. So I want to go back to the ocean, and it be not just more, but something that's very realistic and that can definitely be accomplished. And then through health and fitness, with Beachbody, I've really realized that I could make a big impact in a way to help improve the eating habits of people and what is being offered there. So yes, it has evolved, and 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 it has evolved a lot in a lot of ways to not just being able to live there, but also to be able to make an impact and create a legacy, make an impact in the lives of other people. Um, so with that, I see that most of you have read the slide, so I'm not gonna go into details on this. Um, I've just got two very important things to point out here is we say the goals, do they line up with your why? Now, my question to you is it doable with your schedule? If you travel like I do and you still want to spend time with your family and relax a little bit, um, there's just some things that cannot get done. Um, so if it's not doable with your schedule, but you've got the goals of reaching diamond or making an X amount of money in a certain time, you need to match your actions to that. If not, hire an assistant. And if Barbie allow, I will sometime do a call on how to hire a virtual assistant. This girl speaks perfect English. She has a college degree. She's from the Philippines, and she is better than me. She does an incredible amount of work for us and do a lot of busy work. The other thing that I want to point out to you is, are you are you really focusing on the 20% of your actions that produce 80% of your results? Or do you sometimes get in a rut and spend a lot of your time on the 80% that only produce 20% of the results? That is something that when you take action and you do things is really to take a look at that. Are you doing the 20% of actions? Then, of course, you need to set a timeline, um, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly timelines. Write it down, measure it, and say exactly when. My short term goal is enroll 4 coaches in October, and every month after that, make Success Club 10 every month. And then I have a longer timeline of being 2-star by next summit, 10-star by the following summit, having so many people on my team, which will equate roughly to so much per month. I've laid this out over the next 3 years from from daily, weekly goals to quarterly goals, and into yearly goals and multi-year goals. So um, we are not going to go into the last session because we are over our time. But I have a few more good points about the different stages, and I expand on that a little bit. And you guys can review the slide when I upload that into the Empire. Um, I just want to say to Barbie and the other leaders of the Empire team that has been an absolute privilege and an honor for me to lead this call. And I want to give just a big shout out to Joy. She's not just a very good friend and accomplished person, but if you do pray, you could pray to get a coach like Joy on your team because she rocks. So,
Bless you. Thank you, my friend.
all right, I'll let you say goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Honestly, truly privileged. I remember early on when I started to dream again, I said, one day I'm going to walk across that summit stage. I don't know where it's going to be and I don't know what year, but it'll be one. I tell you right now, this kind of makes me just feel very humble and a little emotional. But for me, just an indication of God's grace. And our fall classic team with Christine is called Powered by Grace. And that's just how I feel that my life is going. So I really thank you. I hope that something that I've shared has been a blessing to you. And hit me up on Facebook. Love to stay in touch.
Same
Johan,
with
you
me.
rock.
Thank you. All right, good night, Empire. Have a great week.